In Greek mythology, there was a woman named Cassandra, and she was cursed by the gods. The curse was she could see the future. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, there was a second part to the curse, and the second part was no one would believe her warnings.
Well, sort of like when you came into the Bush administration and said, I know you may have an agenda around Iran or Iraq or other issues, but you need to pay attention to this guy named Osama bin Laden. A date may be coming up where we're going to really regret not having put more effort into this. But you were trying to drive them off the agenda they got elected for. You were trying to drive them off the agenda that they felt was very critical, and you had something new and expensive and that would change for relationships and change military force structures, and it was very hard for them to hear that.
Well, I think any political leader, any government leader, comes to office with an agenda. And if suddenly there's this intervening variable off the Fenway Park left field wall that they weren't anticipating, that's going to cause them to have to put their agenda aside and work on your agenda, and especially if it's inconvenient, if it costs money, if it means doing things differently, and if it means the President of the United States going out there and having to persuade people to do something about an issue that's never happened before. That's really hard to accomplish. It sounds silly to think that major decision makers like presidents and governors would say, yeah, well, just because it's never happened before, I'm going to ignore your warning. Because, heck, history is just a list of things that never happened before. When we were kids, we had to memorize these dates, 1066, 1492, 1776. They were dates of things that had never happened before, happening for the first time. So we know every day of our lives, things happen for the first time. We know that happens. It's a regular occurrence in life. And yet decision makers, when someone comes into them and says, stop working on what you want to work on, I've got something over here that you have to pay attention to now, they say, that's never happened before.
Often you get to that position as a politician or as a leader because you're good at making quick decisions. And a quick decision might be, you know what, I don't understand this, get out of my office.
And what we're seeing now are congressmen and senators saying, when climate change comes up, for example, as an issue, I'm not a climate scientist, as though that absolves them of knowing anything or doing anything.